welcome back to Cautious Globe. This is a channel about cross stitch. I am Stephanie. Normally I'm here with my sister Allison, but today I'm going solo and I'll talk about why in a minute. So we have three kinds of videos on our channel. We have regular Flosstube episodes. If you've never seen a Flosstube episode, they're really deep dives into someone's personal stitching. We share all the things we're working on, all the things we're gonna be working on, all the things we bought, which is a very popular yet controversial segment of many people's Flosstubes. We share, who we've been watching and things we've learned. They're really fun. And then every other Monday we come out with a Flosstube extra, and sometimes those are typical ones that most channels do, like WIP parades, and which is where you get out all your works in progress and you share them. And we just published our WIP parade in 2 sections, and I'll link to that in the description. But we also do things like little tutorial or little like deep dives into like a designer or things that take some kind of fun research. So like we did a 30 free summer patterns was the first video in our free pattern series that we'll be doing for the next many years, because I have many ideas about free patterns. And then we've done like a most expensive series. So this is a Flosstube extra. And I'll talk about what this is in a minute. The third kind of video we have are like short tutorials. They're mostly for people who buy patterns in our Etsy shop. But putting them on YouTube instead of like a closed platform means anyone who's learning to cross stitch can learn from them. And if you are just a subscriber to our channel who's not new, we'd love it if you watched it and added your 2 cents in the comments, because we love it when those get like 100 really helpful comments that new stitchers can go and get second opinions and more ideas from. So it's so funny. I've recorded a few times without Allison here, and I'm actually like very used to, because of like my day job, very used to talking without a person with me. But it is funny when you get used to someone being here and then they're not here and I can't just like bounce back. So if you're seeing this and you've never seen our channel before, we would love if you subscribed, and then know that usually there's 2 of us. Okay, so today's topic. At the end of last year, I released in December a 2024 plans video. A lot of people do that. They like kind of look at the next year of their stitching and figure out, what patterns do they have in their stash that they've wanted to get started? What do they want to happen with their WIPs? They put their WIPGO board together, which WIPGO is a game hosted by tool instrument. I don't know what it's basically a bingo card for your WIPs, and a lot of people in the cross stitch community love doing that. So they put together a WIPGO board, and some Flosstube will film then a channel like sharing what their plans are for next year. And every time I've ever shared a plans video with you guys, it has been super rewarding, because I've shared a couple plans for like Nora November and Mirabilia in May, which are one specific cross stitch designer, a time when a lot of cross stitchers who like that designer do a lot of their patterns. And then also when I share my plans video, really rewarding, because it gives other people an opportunity to hear what you're planning on doing, and then they can say, oh, I'm planning on doing something similar, and then you can decide, okay, well, let's do it together. So many of the things I'm updating today are things where I put it on my plans video and then someone reached out to me and now there's a start along for it or something, and you're welcome to join us. But then also, so I thought it'd be fun to update like on that plans video, like what went right, what I'm still planning, where my plans are changed, what I've abandoned. And if any of I'm gonna list all the patterns that I have scheduled for the rest of the year. And if anybody wants to start any of those with me, or if any of those are gonna be part of start alongs that I'm hosting or joining, then you're more than welcome to join as well. So let's just dive in. So first of all, the thumbnail was to see me, because one of my plans last year, I don't know if I mentioned that video, but I was gonna really use my book of days, and I have not. I'm such a digital person. I really organize my stitching with a combination of Stitching to Tease Notions template and then good old fashioned Excel. And honestly, like my brain works in Excel, and even doing things in Notion is like, even though I see all the benefits from it and I like having it there, it's still like my brain really just wants to do it in Excel. So I have like a pretty big Excel spreadsheet, and then I have some of that information also in Notion, where it's like a little bit easier to access, but I haven't done the full Notion breakdown where I add all my patterns and stuff. I still need to do all of that. So one of my big plans, I will not be purchasing a 2025 Book of Days. I think it's such a cool idea. I would love to have like a beautiful stickered reflection, but actually that's what my heart wants, but my brain wants a color-coded Excel spreadsheet. And that's all my brain wants, and so that's just kind of what I have to do. So this has fallen by the wayside, but let's dig into what my plans were. So for 2024, I was gonna join Pam from Just Keep Stitching, 24 new starts in 2024. And I was also gonna do WIPGO, hosted by Jessie Marie Does Stuff. And then I was going to start other projects that came up that I really wanted to start. Spoiler alert, that happened more often than I anticipated. So those were kind of my plans, and that was my plan going in. I'm in a different place now. Some of that has really solidified and been really helpful, and some of that is gone. So looking at my new starts, of the things that I planned to start in 2024, I either have started or am still planning on starting 15 of them, which I think is pretty good, because I'm a newer stitcher. So it's not like I had like 6 or 7 years of stitching under my belt to be like, well, I know I want to start this. So basically I plan to start, the things that I had planned to start that I did start was Cinderella by Mirabilia, Wildflowers by Ink Circles, The Pink Barn by the Artsy Housewife, Strawberry Fields Forever by Blackbird Designs, Easter by OwlForest Embroidery, Oona Owl by the Artsy Housewife. For Mirabilia, I had thrown out a few different patterns I was considering starting from. Of the ones that I was considering at the time, I did start Stargazer and Cathedral Woods Goddess. And then, so those are the patterns that I mentioned in that video that I was gonna start, that I did start. Now, some of them are started and have like decent progress. One of them needs a full restart. Others of them are just like, 5 or 10% in. And if you watched our WIP parade, then you saw where those were, because those were all included as part of our WIP parade. The ones that I skipped, so I was gonna do Temperature Quaker by StitchinMommy. I still think it's really cool. It's a beautiful pattern. I'm gonna save the pattern to use some of those Quaker motifs and other more improv-y extemporaneous pieces, but I just realized I'm not gonna be somebody who wants to do a temperature stitch, and so I don't wanna hold myself accountable to that. I did not start Snowflakes in Blue by KEB Studio Creations because I was gonna start it as like a seasonal winter piece. And then I realized I am not really a winter seasonal stitcher. It's kind of like once Christmas is over, I don't wanna move into spring, but I want to get back to my regular WIPs. And so January and February was like a lot of stuff for Allison's birthday, and then just like enjoying WIPGO and enjoying my regular stuff. And so that didn't get started. I am going to start it. It's all kitted up. It's going to become my snow day piece. And I decided that when I kitted it up in February at my LNS, which I live in Oklahoma City, so my local needle workshop, or LNS, is, there is one that's about an hour away that I have not been to, but the one that I go to a few times a year is the Silver Needle in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's a pretty famous one. And I did kit up a conversion there in February, but it did not snow. We had a very mild winter. So that may be a start this year if it snows, but I'm putting it on I'm not gonna start because it doesn't usually snow in Oklahoma before January. So my guess is it will get started in the first quarter of next year, but basically it's ready to go, and the next snow day, I'm starting it. I decided to hold off on Flea Market Baskets by Lori Holt. It is really big, and I just was kind of feeling a little overwhelmed, and I had a few unplanned starts, and so I just needed to, so I took the 2 Lori Holt patterns. I was gonna do that and Cornelius, and I decided to wait. Now, Cornelius is still kitted, ready to go, and I will definitely be starting him next year because he's not very big, and Allison has him, you can't see it, but Allison has him hanging up in her kitchen. He's very cute. So I know I'm gonna do it, but I'm not ready to do it, but it's not dekitted. I did go ahead and dekit Flea Market Baskets because I'm working towards getting a full DMC set, and when I was organizing stuff for the WIP parade and for this video, any pattern that I was not like 100% starting this year and next year, if it was just hoarding a bunch of DMC, I just put it in my big DMC box, because by the time I get around to it, I will hopefully be like a full master set person. And so that won't be an issue to like, I won't have to go back to the craft store to rekit it. I was going to start something from this really sweet Peter Rabbit book that I bought, and I just decided, it's so funny, I really love fall stitching, Halloween stitching, Christmas stitching, and I'm finding I really love summer stitching, but spring and Easter stitching really, I was really not there for it last year. I'm hoping this year, because I have a piece that I already started, that will be like jumping back into that will kind of ease me back into it. But maybe I'll never be like a real spring stitcher. I don't know, but I really love that book. It's so cute. So hopefully next year, like I said, that is another one where I dekitted the DMC and put the DMC in my master box, because hopefully by next spring, I have gotten time to organize the full master set. And it's because I have the floss bobbins. I've been using them in projects for months and months, and I have the boxes for storage. I just need to get the stickers and need to start assigning skeins to stickers and see what I'm missing. Oh, Pushkin's Tales. So Pushkin's Tales is by OwlForest Embroidery. It's not exactly a pretty piece, but I love it because I want to use it as a deep dive, like into watch, like as something I stitch while I watch, like Russian movies in English based on Russian literature, and like rewatch The Americans. And I have I lived in Eastern Europe for a long time, and I have an affinity for Eastern European culture. I studied it in college, and I love Pushkin. I love Pushkin's his stories, and I would love to start that piece, but I already have one other large OwlForest sampler on this list, and I have a Cyrillic sampler going. So I have enough things that I could be thematically stitching while doing an Americans rewatch. I don't need to start another sampler. So I have the thread pack for that. I'm not getting rid of it. I'm just gonna tuck it away, and when I'm ready for it in a year or two, I'll reach for that. That was gonna be my birthday start, and what I replaced it with is Secret Garden by Hello from Liz Mathews, which was a Patreon piece. And I'll talk more about that in a little bit. Okay, so then I was gonna start the Pilgrim by Long Dog Samplers. It's a big one. I was gonna start it in September as kind of like my back to school style start, and a sampler September. But I have a smaller, she calls them peccadillos, Long Dog sampler piece going, and I really love it. It's really beautiful. It is a lot more active stitching than I expected. When I am not pretty active, I end up making mistakes, and because of how symmetrical that piece is, it really hurts it. Now, the big one isn't symmetrical, but I really could see it not being something that's great for like the type of stitching I was hoping it would be for, which would be like lazy Sunday after I edit and I have like an hour type stitching. It's not turning out like the one I have is not turning out great for that. So I want to keep working on that one, but I'm not ready to commit to the full one. I have it, I don't have the fabric for it, but I have the floss for it. And I know I will get to it one day. So I have the pattern, I have the fabric or the floss, but I'm not ready to start it this year. So that's getting pushed to on the kitted but not planned list. And then the last two things that I took off my like definite starting this year list are the Snow Queen by Mirabilia and Floral Dreams, which is a Nora Corbett. And the reason I did that is because in Mira May, I ended up starting one more than I thought I was going to, and I ended up starting another one by another Mirabilia in June that wasn't on my plans list, and so now I have 10 Mirabilia whips, and I am like for sure starting Christmas Elegance in November, and that will get me to 11. Guys, I can't have 12 or 13. I need to, yeah, I know, I gotta cap it at 11, and I really want to cap it at 10, so I want to finish one, and then I want to finish another one before I'm allowed to start anything else. And I'm hoping that if I can keep doing the pacing that I'm going, which is to do 100 stitches a day on Touching the Autumn Sky right now, and then finish that, and then whenever I'm done with that, start doing 100 stitches a day on another one of mine, that I can get it down to 9, and then I can just be like, okay, you can never have more than 10 of these, because it's crazy. Even though they're so fun and like, it's crazy to have, so I'm gonna shelve those other 2 until there's like open spots for them on a roster of 10. Okay, so those are the things that I was planning on starting that I didn't start, or that I took off the list. And some of those are gonna definitely be starts next year. Some of those will be starts when I need a project, like that they were like other projects I have, and when I need a project like that, they'll be there ready for me. And some of them might become things that I wanted to start and just become like, well, there's so many things you can stitch, and maybe I don't know where my heart will be when it's time for some of them, but I feel good taking them off the list, because honestly, I could not start those and then start all of the rest of the things I had planned and wanted. So unplanned starts. So I started 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I started 12 things that weren't on that list, and I have 11 things that weren't on that list planned to go. All the unplanned starts, you guys have seen my art parade, you guys know what they are. And I will share the unplanned starts that are coming up in a few minutes. But what I made this list, the kinds of projects that made it so that I wanted to stitch them so bad that I started stitching them when I should not have. No, that's not. The kinds of projects that made me go, I have to start this right now, or I have to schedule this with someone, or yes, I want to join that SAL, kind of had had 5 themes. So the 23 total projects, the 12 I started and the 11 I'm going to tell you about, were all kind of fit into one of these 5 things. And so a lot of them fit into 2 or 3. So the first one was things that reminded me of my kids or are for my kids. I think if you're a mom, that will not like shock you, that if you saw something that just like reminded you of your daughter, or you thought your son really wanted, that you'd be like, okay, well, I guess I'm just starting that, you know? So that was only 2 projects, but I don't think it shocks anyone that that would be something that would get me to start something. And then another one was a special opportunity to support a designer that I either love or has like a good cause going, or I'm friends with in real life, or have a total parasocial relationship with. So things like when I started Candy by Whittier Stitches, which is a free fancy lady, like Kat was so excited about launching that pattern as her first pattern for her design company, and it was going to be free, and I was like, I'm going to start this because it's beautiful. I didn't start anything I didn't love, but I also had an opportunity to go ahead and support her now instead of putting it on a list and support her down the road. Or Stitch for Pride. I missed the window on that last year. Thought all year, if it becomes available, I'm starting it, and it became available, and so I bought it last week. Unfortunately, the window for that is closed. But by my next Flosstube, you guys will see that as a whip. But like, that's the kind of thing where it's like, I didn't go into the year planning on doing it, but like, obviously I fell in love with this pattern. Like, the money goes to a great place. There's no reason not to be doing that. And so I'm just doing it. SALs. So the biggest one that got me on the most things were stitch-alongs, or SAL, SALs. Some of the stitch-alongs are like things where it's like one person was like, hey, let's do this. Especially if they knew I had a pattern that I liked, but maybe it wasn't officially on the list, but they knew I'd get to it anyway. Or like my friend Jen is hosting a stitch-along for a freebie from one of my favorite designers, the Giant Butterflies. So like, why would I not join that? Or some like fun mystery stitch-alongs that are like kind of community-wide or community building, like the Deadly Aquarium, even though I know I'm not going to be caught up ever on it. It's still a fun just to be a part of the people community doing it. So stitch-alongs, and even like my own birthday stitch-along, which is in July. So I was gonna start one thing, I changed the pattern on it, and then I decided to start two things for it. So even my own stitch alongs got me. And then seasonal, not spring, but I did not anticipate how much summer stitching. I mean, I'm a summer baby. I should have thought, like, even though it's way too hot, that summer is my favorite. Summer is my favorite season in theory. It's not my favorite season to like go outside in, like that is definitely fall. And my favorite month to like go on vacation is like October. But summer is my favorite like state of mind. And so sitting inside an air-conditioned building, stitching on summer Quaker or stitching on Coastal Cola, like, is making me so happy. And so I added a lot more summer starts. And then when I made my 24 and 24 plans, I didn't add anything for December because I knew I was gonna wanna do some Christmas stitching. And I thought, oh, you know, when December rolls around, I'll just start what I wanna start. I won't worry about it. I didn't anticipate that I'm gonna wanna start Christmas stuff in July. So I moved up some things that I'd like tentatively thought I might do in December to the official, like, I'm starting list in July. So yeah, basically, if it was like about my kids, if it was seasonal, if it was community building, or it felt like it was going to like a good, not a good cause, but like it was a good, starting it did a little more good than a regular start, those got me. And it's good to know that about myself for next year when I'm making my plans for next year. Like, don't overload myself with spring starts just because I think I might want them if I don't actually enjoy the process of stitching them. We learned in the product versus process stitcher video that I am a process stitcher and I'm not going to want to sit there and stitch a bunch of spring. But maybe one day I will. But but don't like short shrift. You know, when I'm looking at the list, like if there's there's already a summer pattern I know I want to start next summer, and I need to make sure, if you guys haven't seen it yet, hello from Liz Mathews. Her Patreon is knocking it out of the park. So I joined her Patreon last September, and I was almost going to drop out because I was like, I don't like hoarding patterns. It's making me stressed out, which I have like this many binders full of patterns. So I don't know why like hoarding digital patterns feels different, but then like the last 4 months have all been things. And she dropped this one. It's just called Seaside. And it's, if you saw the pumpkin house where it had 2 different pieces of fabric, it's in that, it's not, I don't know if it's part of that series exactly, but it is got the same concept where it's like a house on one piece of fabric and then the ocean below is on a different piece of fabric. It is so good. I cannot also start that this summer. So that is number 1 on my like to start next year list. But knowing that seasonal and summer is gonna get me, I feel pretty confident that by the time next summer rolls around, I'm gonna be really happy that it's there. And if not, that's okay. All right, so the planned starts that I have for the rest of the year that are still going to happen, I'm pretty sure are Summer in the Village. So I had, that is an OwlForest sampler that I was really excited about. And then I bought the 3rd pack for it. It's a freebie. It was on our free, so the link to download it is in our 30 free summer patterns video, which has links to all of the free patterns. So I had like put it, it was on my list for this year. And then I took it off because I had all this other summer stuff. And I was feeling more nautical coastal summer than like hot Eastern European village summer. But then Katrina from Tartans and Threads was like, I love that pattern, let's start it. I was like, oh, twist my arm. Okay, I guess I have to. So now we're doing it as her birthday start. And it's really cool. And if you want to start it with us for Katrina's birthday, her Flosstube is Tartans and Threads. Unlike me, she's not going to inundate you with a million videos, so you can get caught up pretty quickly. And then she's Australian, so I've been really vibing with Australian. I've been watching her. I've been watching Peggy still stitching. I just started watching the Bohemian Stitcher, actually yesterday. Her channel is really good. Crazy. She's an ultra marathon runner. But anyway, so Katrina from Tartans and Threads. Now she lives in Australia, so it's not her summer, but she still likes the pattern. I double checked with her. I was like, you sure you want to start on your birthday when you have a winter birthday? She's like, yes. And so we're going to start Summer in the Village for our Australian winter birthday queen on July 3rd. And then Black Cat Season. Black Cat Season is a pattern. It's a series of patterns by Lindy Stitches that I bought last year. I bought the whole like kit. It wasn't really a kit, but I bought like all the things, even the finishing thing. And then last year I thought I was really gonna start it. This is something that was like an impulse purchase last year because it reminds me of a cartoon. It reminds me of something like a phase my son was in that he's not in anymore, but it's fine. And I really love it, and I was gonna start it, but then I kept like thinking like, oh, maybe I'll start. I have so many good Halloween things. Maybe I won't start it. And then Kylene from CCL Stitches, who I want to stitch everything she stitches. Like everything she stitches is great. She was like saying like, oh, she bought it and she wants to start it too. So we're gonna start it together in August. Haven't picked a date. So it's a series of patterns that there's a free border to do it as a bell pull, but also you can just do one of the little patterns. So if you want to join us for that, I'm sure we're going to come up with like a fun hashtag and a start date and everything. We don't have it yet, but she and I both have the project kitted, so we will be starting in. Oh, this is interesting. No, I have Pear Hill on this list. I thought I'd taken it off. This is an Artsy Housewife piece that I really love that I have fully kitted. If anything is gonna come off this list, it might be that one just because of the sheer volume of Artsy Housewife pieces that I will be stitching by the end of this year. But for now, I have it penciled in to start Pear Hill in August. I'm gonna start Away We Ride in September by Blackbird Designs. Everyone is stitching this. Everyone was stitching it last year, and then everyone is stitching it this year, but it's such a good pattern that every time someone shows it, I'm excited to see it, even though everyone's like knows exactly what it looks like. So I bought it to stitch this year. Won't probably finish it because it's like got like 12,000 pieces, but I do have it like in markup ready to go. I don't have the floss. I haven't decided if I'm gonna do a DMC conversion or not, but anyway, very excited about that. We'll be starting in September. Then I was gonna start Dark, Cold, and Delicious in August or September. Change of plans. August 4th, I always say this incorrectly, Becca from Beck Stitches Everything and I are hosting the Two Kinds of Delicious Sal. You can see the hashtag here. And I kitted up Delicious and Dark, Golden Delicious by the Artsy Housewife. They're basically the same pattern. And it was stupid of me to buy both. And it was stupid of me to kit up both, but it will be fine. So we're gonna start that. She's gonna start Dark, Golden Delicious. I decided actually I'm gonna start the light regular version. I have enough dark stitching projects. I need to add things to my repertoire that are large stitches that I can easily see. I just thought Allison's husband was coming home, but it's a neighbor, which is funny. He's so nice about letting us film here, and but it is funny when he walks in and Allison's not. if he walked in and Allison was here and I'm just talking in his living room about cross stitching to myself. Okay, so I'm gonna start Golden Delicious, and then I messaged Artsy Housewife and like told her like, hey, my bad, this was dumb that I bought both. Is it okay if in this circumstance, because you're not supposed to give PDF patterns to people, is it okay in this circumstance if I give this to my sister? Because we are not stitching, I'm obviously not gonna stitch both, and we're gonna host a little Sal. And she gave me permission, so I'm giving Dark, Golden Delicious to Allison. If you're ever in a similar situation with the PDF, it never hurts to ask the designer. They can tell you yes or no. Like they know what their comfort and standards, and if they have, you know, contractual obligations about stuff. So she was really kind and said, yeah, I could give that to Allison. So Allison is probably gonna start one too. So if you wanna join us. So originally I had chosen Dark, Golden Delicious. I'm calling it that it's the same because I'm just switching to the light version. Then my October planned start was October Quaker Tree, which is was a Hello from Liz Mathews Patreon piece from last year. That was like a set of 2 October Quakers and one said Boo, and I stitched that last year as like a small, and then the tree is also pretty small actually, but I have it kitted up in the same floss so that they match, and I will be starting that. I will probably finish that. It's only like 2,000 stitches. And my guess is it's gonna come out this year, because if it came out last year, I would imagine she'd want it to be for sale this October. So not 100% on that, but I'm hoping that if you want to join me and you were not in it last year, that you can get it. And then in November, I'm going to do like a November plans video like closer to, because that was so fun last year. And I am going to try to get to all of my Nora whips and do some amount of progress on them. But I am going to start Christmas Elegance because I'm obsessed with it. I was going to start it last year, and then the fabric I ordered for it didn't come. And then I've changed the fabric on it since then, but very excited about it. So that will be my one Mira or Nora start for Nora November, unless I finish Touching the Autumn Sky and Moon Glow, and then I can start something else. We'll see if that's not gonna happen. So, okay, so those are the things that I had started, that I said I was gonna do this year, that I'm still gonna do, what I said I was gonna do this year that I'm not gonna do, and then why the things that got added thematically, and then the other things that are now on my definitely starting list that you can join me for a sal if you want to, or so I'm starting Stitch for Pride to 2024 tomorrow, but yesterday to you, and that is part of a year-long stitch along. And if you didn't hear about it before, the pattern is no longer available, but I am starting that. Then on June 30th, I'm starting Giant Butterflies by the Artsy Housewife for the Giant Butterflies sal, hosted by Jen from Jen's Fiber Web at Mega Stitches, and they both have great floss tubes. You should definitely check out both of their channels if you like. Well, they both are pretty eclectic. And then last year, like, they don't just do those kind of stitching. They both do like a lot of kinds of stitching. And then last year at Christmas, Mega Stitches did like a Flossmas where she told stories that I really enjoyed. So I will start that on June 30th. I have not pulled flosses or fabric for it yet. But I will, so I would need to do that. Okay. Then on July 1st for my own birthday sal, which is the Hello 40 birthday sal, which is when I'm going to stitch things by Hello from Liz Mathews in the month of July. My birthday is the 16th. You're welcome to start any Liz Mathews pattern or work on any Liz Mathews whip to join, and tag me and then I'll share it. And any day in July is fine. But I'm gonna start Summer Celebration on July 1st. I think Allison's gonna start it July 1st too. And that was a freebie that Liz Mathews has on her website that just uses a few colors, and it's really small, and that will be fun. And if you watch the 30 free summer patterns video, or even if you just go to the link to download that is in that video as well. And then on my birthday, I already said I'm gonna start Secret Garden by Hello from Liz Mathews. This was a Patreon piece, so it's not available anymore, but I'm sure it will be available next year sometime. And then in July, for Christmas in July, I'm gonna start Santa Cat on a Scooter by December Stitches. So I wanna give away from December Stitches, which is December Stitches. It's a really lovely cross-stitch designer, lots of Christmas pieces, but not exclusively. And I want to give away where I got to pick out 5 patterns, and Allison I got to tag a friend to pick 1 pattern. So I picked Santa Cat on a Scooter as one of my 5. And then in July, they're going to host a Love and Joy in July sal with this one specific dog pattern that I have from them too that is so cute. But I really want to stitch the Scooter. So I'm going to join their sal, but with a different pattern. I'm going to stitch Santa Cat. And then, if you thought I was going to start like more Artsy Housewife, you are correct. And I'm realizing I left something on this list. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay, so I forgot, and I don't know what this does to the numbers, but I'm gonna start Dream Within a Dream, which is a stitch along for the tier 4 patrons, hosted by, like, it's an Artsy Housewife. Sorry that I said that weird. It's an Artsy Housewife stitch along for the Dream Within a Dream pattern, and it's hosted by the Artsy Housewife on her Patreon. And it's for tier 4, and you can get it through like July 14th or 15th. So if you like it, you can get it. I think I'm gonna do the DMCs. I pulled fabric for it. I think I'm gonna do the DMC, but I haven't 100% settled on that. But the pattern's so good. So I'm starting a lot of Artsy Housewife. I'm also gonna start by the Artsy Housewife Christmas Chicken because I was going to start it, and I bought it and put it on my like tentative December list. And then Allie Renee from Allie Renee's Copious Spare Time, I love her Flosstube. She said she's going to start it in July, and anyone who wants to join her can. And I'm like, yeah, I'm down. But I don't know if there's a date picked out or anything. But I'm definitely starting that for Christmas in July. And then in August, I'm going to start Swan Lake Mandala by Chatelaine. And I'm not prepared to talk about that today, but that is happening. And I'm starting that with Rachel from Licking Floss, who is a wonderful enabler. Like, her stitching is so beautiful, and she does it with little kids running around, and so she's very, very inspiring. Okay, then I think it's October or November. I don't know the exact start date. I gotta reach out. So Blackbird. Okay, so let me back up. Small gift. I think it's a Mary Engelbright design, but I don't know like who is the credited company, and I still need to buy the pattern. I saw this on Dina, who is Half Stitch Cross Stitch. She does like vlog style where she like really walks you through what she did each day, which means you really see her projects. And I got obsessed with this pattern. And then Black Ribbon Stitch Studio, she said she's starting it with someone, and I was just like, oh my gosh, that pattern's so great. Like, she's like, okay, well, you should join us. Okay, I guess I will. Twist my arm. But I haven't checked back to find out exactly what day she's starting it, but I am going to start it. I have it in my 1, 2, 3 stitch cart. Haven't bought it yet, but it's been sitting there. I don't know, there's just something about it. Now it's on Black Ada. I'm not doing it on Black Ada. I think I'm gonna do it on Navy Ada, and that will maybe be kind of nice to have like because when I look at the pattern, I thought it was on a dark blue Ada, but I don't do a lot of Ada stitching, and I don't think I have any Christmas Ada pieces, so it might be nice to have a Christmas Ada piece. And it's not full coverage, but it's very dense where there is stitching. It's so pretty. I think that's the first time I've mentioned that pattern on this channel. I'm obsessed with it. And then I'm gonna start Ding Dong Merrily on High by Heartstring Sampling. So last year when I went to the Jingle Ball, I bought like 5. I have 6 Heartstring Sampler Christmas patterns. One that I already had as a whip, one that I have as a whip now that I bought at the Jingle Ball, and then 4 others that I bought at the Jingle Ball. Like, I just was obsessed. It was like any pattern that Heartstring Sampling, Beth Twist, had created that had Christmas lyrics on it, I was just like down for it. But Christmas lyrics on other people's patterns don't do that for me. So I don't know what it is, but I'm obsessed. So I need to finish the one that I'm working on now. Well, I'm not going to finish the big sampler this year, but I need to finish the small one that I'm working on now. And I'm going to start another one. And I want to start Ding Dong Merrily on High, because you could do it as a pattern. Not doing that. She has another way where you can do it as a banner. And I thought that would be so fun to have. If I could get, it's not a ton of stitching. If I could get that stitching done, then maybe next year at Christmas, I could have it finished into a banner. And how like lovely and celebratory, and like the kind of thing you like, you know, your kids really remember and like think of like, oh yeah, like that is what I like, part of our Christmas tradition. I'm really excited about that. Then I'm also going to start a piece that I showed you guys before, Forest Birds Wreath, which is this beautiful Christmas Dimensions kit that was out of print that I bought on eBay. And I talked about buying it on our eBay tips video. But I'm obsessed with that pattern, and the only reason I haven't started it yet is because the threads are a jumble, and so I'm gonna get DMC. I'm not gonna use the kit threads, and I'm not gonna use the Scratchy Kit Ada. And so it's like basically I bought the pattern, I need to kit up the whole thing. And I wasn't like ready to do that with like a Dimensions, like lots of floss style kit yet. But if I get I just need to be slowly working on getting my master set together, and then I won't have to worry about things like that. And then last year I saw Oh Christmas Tree by All Through the Night. A lot of people have stitched it. I became obsessed with it when I saw it on Running with Scissors, Stitching with Jane and Julie. My love for their channel is well documented here, to the point where I have a full parasocial relationship with them. And so and this will not be the first thing that I start because I saw it on their channel. But I saw this pattern in a lot of places, but I'm obsessed with it. I bought it. I have it in markup ready to go. And I am starting it this year. Now, I think I'm gonna I have a really pretty piece of green Ada that Kat from Whittier Stitches gave me. I think I'm gonna do it on that. On like this, like, it's like 60, I think it's 16 or 18 count. But she dyed it herself and it's really pretty, beautiful Christmas green. And I was thinking if I could find a really pretty yellow or brown that reads as gold on that fabric, that it would be a real stunner. But if not, I can do it with something similar to the called for. Okay, so that's my crazy list of starts. Now, you might think that's too many things, and it is. And I decided to create this giant spreadsheet because I can't do math in Notions. I can't do formulas and stuff. I know other people can, I can't. So I took my like small stitching spreadsheet in Excel and I made like some additional worksheets, and I figured out that once I start those projects and add them to the current website I have, if I stitch at my current rate, it would take me 6.5 years to finish all of those, which is actually was a calming number. It was not a lifetime. It was not till you're 80. You know, I turned 40 this year. I could have many of them done by the time I'm 45 or 46 if I don't start a million things going forward. Like beyond that, if I like enjoy this like crazy year of starts and then chill it out a little bit. So I'm just gonna keep my eye on that number. And next year I'm gonna come up with either like a 1 in, 1 out, like, but of relative comparable size, or, you know, like 6 starts or something. Like, keep it smaller, and I'm gonna try to finish things. But what I don't wanna do is finish a bunch of smalls just to like have finishes and lower my whip count. If that overall to be stitched number is still where it's at, that's not really gonna be helpful. So I created for myself, like, instead of worrying about finishes and letting myself still enjoy the process, I put everything into buckets. And I was inspired by Samantha, the Hugo Stitcher, because she had moved her projects. She actually started things to be able to implement this system, and where she wanted to have like a certain number of projects in the like 0 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 75. Well, that's what I'm doing. I don't know if she had those exact, I don't know if she had 4 buckets or 3 buckets, but I put all of my whips into like, you know, are they 0 to 25% done, 25 to 50%, 50 to 75, or 75 to 100. And that way, instead of being like, I need to finish, I can get really excited about moving things to the next color on my Excel spreadsheet. And so since implementing that, I moved 2 things from 0 to 25 to 25 to 50. And because, I mean, I'm a newer stitcher, so many of my projects are in that 0 to 25 range, that if I could get it to be more even, instead of worrying about, I want to finish some things, but I don't need to worry about finishing things as much as I need to worry about moving things through that process, and not adding to this list in a crazy way. I don't think I want to do no new starts next year because I think that's a recipe for disaster, but we'll see. And obviously starts doesn't include anything like model stitching as a designer, and I didn't include gift stitching either from the past or things that I might gift stitch. Will be gift stitching later this year. But also I tend to do smaller gift stitches. I'm not stitching Mirabilias for people at this stage in my career. You know, a gift for me is probably less than 2,000 stitches. So, okay, so let me just double check. Did I talk about everything I wanted to talk about? Because I have been talking for a while. Okay, what I started, what I skipped, what I started and I'm planning on starting that I didn't know about. We covered all those. Things that got me to put something on my unplanned starts list. Got those. Oh, WIPGO. Okay, so WIPGO, I talked about this a little bit, but I was really excited about it. I did get behind. I know myself, and I made my goal for each WIPGO to be 1,300 stitches, and I could have the whole year. So if I missed something in the month, I wouldn't, like, you know, if I missed like 5 calls and I didn't have the ability to make them up, I would just quit the game. So instead it's like any time. So I'm slowly getting caught up on WIPGO. So I do want to try to get all of the projects that I have on it to their goals. I think next year I might do 2 WIPGO boards, one for Mirabilia projects so that I'm keeping like all of those moving a little bit, and then one where each one would be on 2 times, and then another one for like other types of medium and large projects that I have, so they're getting as much love as the Mirabilias, because you know, like I love all my projects, and when you watch a WIP parade, you're like, or you film one, you're like, oh, I love that one, I love that one, I love that one. But not all of them are getting equal attention. Okay, so, and for WIPGO, I really do like it. I know people kind of fall off, and part of the game, this is my first year doing it, part of the game is to like know yourself so that it pushes you but doesn't break you. And so I feel pretty good about where I am, but if at the end of the year it breaks me, I'm gonna pick myself up and do it again next year in a different, with changes, because I'd love to get it to the point where either I execute it really well or have fun and change it up a little bit every year. For 2025, I know for sure I'm gonna start Seaside by Hello from Liz Mathews. It's so pretty. I would also really like to start her petal collection. I might, if I do a petal collection as a gift, I might be able to sneak that in this year, but the petal collection was so pretty. I'm going to start Greenhouse by Cottage Garden Samplings. That was something I thought I was gonna stitch this year and then didn't start it because I was a little overwhelmed, but it's so good and it's so pretty. I am gonna start it. And then I've got like some Mirabilias, like like if I'm in a place where I can add more Mirabilias, I would like to start like Royal Holiday or Floral Dreams. I have so many guys, my Mirabilia binder went from like this to this. So like I have a lot to start. So we just gotta keep going on the ones I have so that I can have room for them. I'm definitely gonna do Art Cornelius next year. He's such a cute little chicken and he's only like 3,000 or 4,000 stitches. And then Winter Quaker. I started Summer Quaker. I'm obsessed with it. I'm not very far into it, but I really like it. I could see myself wanting to do more of the Lila's Studio Quakers if Winter Quaker comes out and it's a stunner, because I know she showed a sneak peek of it. So it's gotta be, if it's in the stitching phase, it can't be like that far away from being released. If it comes out this year and it's just too good to pass up, it might be like a new year, new start. Because I heard, and then it was so funny. This is what happens with cross stitch. I wasn't like that into any of the Quaker designs except for Summer Quaker. But now that I've started Summer Quaker, I went back and I looked at all the other ones. I was like, oh, these are all fantastic. Because once you start seeing the stitching, things just do not look as good in pictures, and it's really crazy. And then there are some things I'd like to start where it's like, whenever I finish my current Told Them to Garden, I'm going to start another one. Whenever I finish my current Long Dog, I will start another small one. I may not be ready for the big one again. Whenever I finish, I'm trying to think. I tend to do a lot of pieces by the same like 5 or 6 designers, though I have more of a list than you might think based on hearing how many times I mentioned Liz Mathews and the Artsy Housewife today. And then I also be stitching my own models. And that process is really fun. I really like stitching my own models. I think I'm going to try to do another booklet next year. I don't think I can get enough models together for the rest of this year, but I think I can do another booklet maybe next spring. So I'm going to be stitching more models. So I will not run out of things to stitch, and I don't need to. So anyway, I've talked a long time. Anyway, so that's kind of the state of the union of Stephanie's plans. If you made it to this point in the video, leave a little calendar emoji. It's such a cute little emoji. To symbolize that'll be our secret language that you made it to this point in the video. If you can't find that emoji, any like time watch themed emoji also is fun to see. And then if you're not subscribed, I'd love for you to subscribe and stick around. Normally it is me rambling, but then Allison interjecting every few minutes as opposed to me just rambling solo. So there's that. All right, see you guys later. Bye.